good? What's good? Back with another video. Yeah, my bad. I was gonna drop them yesterday. I came home and I fell right asleep. I was too damn tired. Way too tired, man. Yeah, but like, hey, I'm loving that y'all loving the videos, loving that y'all loving the reactions, y'all giving y'all feedback in the comment section. Keep on doing that, man. I'm loving that. I noticed y'all like the Thomas Sowell reactions, so I'm gonna give y'all more of the Thomas Sowell reactions. But we got mass reactions coming on this channel. I'm an intelligent brother, intelligent dude. I got a God complex. I'm just playing, but I do. Anyways, though, welcome back, y'all. Welcome back to the channel. If you new here, subscribe. If you like me, I like that. I like that. I want to make y'all actually feel me. Subscribe if you like me. Ain't no more time to waste. I know what I do. Let's get right into it. Let's go. Hold up. Hold up. A little too quiet. All right, let's go.
A few clips of the President of the United States delivering his State of the Union address earlier this year. Clip number 1.
Higher education can't be a luxury. It is an economic imperative that every family in America should be able to afford.
Shout out to Barack Obama, man. I love Barack Obama. Barack Obama was one of the greatest presidents ever. And I'm going to argue that point right now. I can't wait to hear this. Greatest presidents ever. But let's hear what Thomas Sowell got to say about one of the greatest presidents ever.
Higher education an imperative. All he's asking is that all young Americans should have the same opportunity to get a really good education that Tom Sowell had. Tom?
I love the way the use of the word opportunity. I had as much opportunity to become an NBA star as Michael Jordan had. It just happens that there was some difference in skill. And so the same thing with education. There is no point trying to run people through institutions that they have very little interest in and that they may not be suited for. In fact, I would argue that one of the problems of American education is you have a lot of people in college who have no interest in what a college is supposed to be, nor is there any reason why they should.
And so the intellect...
Okay, so that was the dumbest analogy you could ever give in your life. He compared an NBA star to somebody learning something in education. I'm gonna tell you something. Education isn't complicated at all. Anybody can learn what they need to learn to go to Harvard. Malcolm X learned everything that he could about all. Malcolm X was a very intelligent brother, and he learned everything in prison. There are people in prison that know more than people in Harvard. There are people in prison who are more intelligent up here than people in Harvard. 100%. Like, research this. 100%. Education is something that can absolutely be learned. To be an NBA star, there's a height requirement, there's a size requirement, and there's a skill set that you can reach by training, but the height requirement and I'm not saying it's a requirement, but height plays a major role in it. Size plays a major role in it. Like even your hip structures play a huge role in it. Like, there's literally physical things from becoming an NBA star that's different than learning from education than going to Harvard. Anybody watching this can go to Harvard and learn the same things that anyone else can learn. It's just whether or not you choose to learn it or not. There's nobody that's unqualified to learn. I don't know, man. Thomas Sowell says some weird stuff sometimes, but y'all like him though, so we keep doing it.
So you water down the education of the people who are there to get an education because of the people who are not there for that purpose, and who you're trying to appease in some way.
And is the impulse that we just saw of Barack Obama and his supporters to constantly more and more people run them through college, and that's what? That's to enhance the standing of intellectuals in society, to teach more and more Americans to defer to intellectuals? Is that part of what's going on?
Hold on, wait. I'll answer that question. No, Obama was trying to run people through college because in the trades and STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, right? He was trying to make it to where you can have a 2-year free college, right? 2-year free college, and then you can go to a 4-year university, because we are falling behind the rest of the world on these specific areas. So Obama was trying to push for these specific areas to be better. That's what he was trying to do. He was trying to get more people to go to college to get degrees so that they can go out in the world and do STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, for those of you who don't know what STEM means. So, how do you water down education? Like, I don't even understand how you do that. Like, how do you water down education? I hope he explains this. He said watering down, I wrote it down. He said watering down education. How do you water down education? How do you do it? I don't know. Let's go.
It's to win votes, frankly.
All right. Straightforward as that. President Obama once again.
I will not cede the wind or solar or battery industry to China or Germany because we refuse to make the same commitment here. We've subsidized oil companies for a century. That's long enough.
Some of them have seen it before, and they're still in awe just as much as they were when they saw it in a video or a post.
This is pre-Solyndra, of course.
Pre-Solyndra.
You know, this notion of picking out something and calling it a good thing, like education or affordable housing or whatever it might be, everything is a matter of trade-off. What did the man say there?
That he will not cede wind.
Hey, look at that. He didn't even listen. What did the man say there? He didn't even take into consideration what he said. See, this is why I rock with the left a little more than I rock with the right, okay? See, the left comes up with ideas. They're thinking, what can we do to make the future better? The question that the right poses is a good question, though. Where are we going to get the money? But the left is coming up with the ideas. They're saying we need to push towards this. We need to make a cleaner energy planet. We need to prevent things from happening that could be, like, that's causing all these forest fires. Things that are happening in the environment that could be a existential, or actually are an existential crisis to our future generations, right? To our future generations. You all right? So those things that are an existential crisis to our future generations, right? And they're trying to come up with ideas for that. Yeah, that was my for y'all. That's my little man. I don't know, y'all rude, so I don't be wanting my kids to be in the video, but y'all see the kids in the video. He a lot older now, but let's keep going. But again, he didn't even listen to what Obama said. He just was ready to criticize Obama. Didn't even take into consideration what Obama had to say. Like it is what it is. But let's go.
Or solar or the battery industry to China or Germany because we refuse to make the same commitment.
It's amazing that here is a man talking about 5 different industries, in none of which he has the slightest experience. You know, but because he has these degrees from the places you mentioned, he thinks, and people have told him how clever he is, he now thinks that he can do this.
So can you
The president, if that's the case, I hope he feels the exact same way about Donald Trump. I hope he feels the exact same way about Donald Trump. Like, the president has advisors to advise them on everything that is going on. They are very familiar with this because they have some of the greatest minds on the planet giving them this knowledge. This dude.
Human being on this planet can do this.
Can you explain, Tom, the particular appeal to intellectuals of the kind you describe here, of the green movement, of the environmental movement?
Oh, it shows them again in the role they relish. They're the wise and noble, forcing the rest of us poor dummies to do what's right, even though we don't want to.
So it's what your old friend Karl Marx...
To do what's right even though we don't want to. That's the response on the right. That's the right's response. To do what's right even though we don't want to. That's what he just said.
Marx would have described as the will to power.
Yes.
All right. You don't want to...
Marx didn't describe the will to power. It was Arthur Schopenhauer. Arthur Schopenhauer and Friedrich Nietzsche were the people that came up with the concept to the will to power. They don't even know they're philosophers. Like I love doing the reactions to these guys because they're hilarious. They don't even know the philosophers. Marx didn't say that at all. Marx was not the quote.
You don't want to cut them a little slack. You're just saying it's ego and pride and vanity.
Yes.
All right. Once again, the President of the United States.
Tax reform should follow the Buffett rule. If you make more than $1 million a year, you should not pay less than 30% in taxes. And my Republican friend Tom Coburn is right. Washington should stop subsidizing millionaires. In fact, if you're earning $1 million a year, you shouldn't get special tax subsidies or deductions. On the other hand, if you make under $250,000 a year, like 98% of American families, your taxes shouldn't go up.
I love it.
You're the one struggling.
Tom?
When people keep their own money, that's called subsidizing them. I love it. You know, that's the brilliance of intellectuals. That they can use words in such a valuable way that they can. Obama has an absolute talent for saying things that make no sense, but not only sound plausible but inspiring. You know, we're subsidizing the oil companies when they deduct the cost of doing business, you know, in order to arrive at the figure of how much net income they have. Everybody does that.
Right. So,
I don't understand. He said what he said made no sense. It made absolute sense. If you make more in the society, you should pay more. You should contribute more, right? Now, I'm fair to the idea that if I make more, the argument back that if I make more, why should I be punished for making more? Why should I have higher taxes because I made more money? That's fair. I understand that argument back. But if you're such a patriot and you really love your country and you benefited off this great country, why can't you? Why is it an argument to try to help other people benefit off this country? Why is it an argument? You're such a patriot. You're so patriotic. You want to stand for the flag and do all these things like that. You want people to stand for the flag, salute the flag, support the flag, but you can't contribute to people who are under the flag, who are not as developed as you are. That's the point of it. 30% was only 30% was to say just contribute a little more to our society. Contribute a little more to our society to help our society grow. That was the point of it, man. That he didn't say nothing. He didn't say didn't make any sense.
This notion, though, that if you're rich, you ought to pay more. Straightforward enough, no?
It is straightforward, but it's also straightforward nonsense.
Why is that?
People don't. They often speak of people who are rich as people who happen to have money.
Right.
Extremely few people happen to have money.
There aren't that many Rockefellers.
But Rockefeller didn't happen to have money.
But his heirs happen to have it.
Heirs happen to have money.
So you're
But
going
Rockefeller reduced the cost of oil to a fraction of what it had been before him,
Right.
benefiting millions of people across the country. Therefore, they bought their oil from Rockefeller rather than from people who had more expensive ways of producing oil. And, for example, one of them being the use of tank cars on the railroads. The progressives were livid that Rockefeller could ship his oil at a cheaper price than the other producers. It never occurred to them that Rockefeller shipped his oil in tank cars, which are a hell of a lot cheaper to transport than in barrels. I mean, we still measure oil in barrels today, but we ship it in tankers.
Right.
And that's how he became a multi-billionaire.
So we know.
Wait a minute. He just said Rockefeller started off poor. Rockefeller didn't start off with money. He started off poor. Rockefeller built an empire. That's why this guy has no clue what he's talking about, man. I mean, genuinely has no clue what he's talking about.
From the study of economic history, that wealthy people get wealthy by creating jobs, lowering prices of products, rather than Bill Gates, the richest man in America, one of the richest men in the world, invented an entire industry that simply didn't. All right, we know all that, and we also know, as we mentioned earlier, that cutting taxes worked to spur economic growth in the 20s. Again, under John Kennedy in the 60s. Actually, it was Johnson who ended up. Most of the tax cuts took place. Let's call it under the 60s, and then again in Ronald Reagan and
then George W. Bush.
And George W. Bush. So how is it that he can stand there in the face of this overwhelming evidence and be taken seriously? I'm not asking now about Barack Obama as an intellectual. I'm asking about the people listening to him.
I want you guys to be careful listening to people when they talk about overwhelming evidence, because I want them to show me. Show me the overwhelming evidence, because that is not what we've seen. We have seen when businesses are taxed at higher rates, right? We have seen when businesses are taxed at higher rates. If it wasn't for the North American Free Trade Agreement, when businesses are taxed at higher rates, it actually helps the economy. That's what we've seen. When Obama did his tax cut, it helped the economy when the economy was in a downturn. When Obama came in 2008, under Bush, of course, under Bush, we were losing almost damn near 1 million jobs a day. When he came in, he added his tax reform policy into it, and it helped the economy. In 2016, all Trump had to do was keep the car moving. Same thing. He didn't mention Clinton at all. Clinton's era was one of the golden ages of the economics for our country, and he did the same thing. He did the exact same thing. The same thing Kamala was going to do, and Biden was doing. You know, Biden was trying to work towards fixing back what happened during COVID, and it's not now. To be fair, the COVID is not Trump or Biden's fault, but Biden was working to fix those things. And yeah, man, I don't know. This guy's supposed to be an economist. Okay, well, I like him, but I respect his opinion.
That's the question of the hour. You have people who don't stop and think. You've had dumbed-down education. You've had propagandistic education, and what he's saying connects with all those kinds of things. In fact, it goes the other way too. I was just doing some research on Detroit and its decline, and they kept raising the city income tax, and every time they raised the tax rate, the tax revenues went down. In 2008, Charles Gibson put this to Obama when he was a candidate. He said, "Why are you for raising the tax rate on the rich? Because you often get more revenue at lower tax rates than at the higher tax rates." And he said, "Well, it's a question of social justice." In other words, he doesn't really care about whether the government raises more revenues. If he can get people mad at the rich and they vote for him, then it's a success. Just as Coleman Young's policies in Detroit were a great political success for him.
That's completely dishonest. Go back. I want you guys to go find that clip of what Obama was really saying. He didn't say social justice. What he said was basically that taxing the rich.
If you're looking for a business loan, an SBA loan is one of your best options. Why is that?
It ruined it.
That taxing the rich is more of a benefit to the economy than lowering taxes to the rich and deregulating businesses. I think it's a Keynesian economic principle. I'm not sure on that. You can quote me in the comment section on that. The other side believes in the supply side economic principles, but why is it that the money is not seeming to trickle down? They are saying that it does, but why is it that workers are not experiencing an upgrade on their lifestyles or their money anytime a Republican is in and they add these supply side economic principles? They have not seen an increase in the minimum. There was a period of time where we didn't see the increase in the minimum wage in almost 15 to 20 years. So I'm just curious, like, why are workers working more now? Like, why are workers doing it's so much? And we've had more supply side economic principles added to the economy than any other form of economics, and they're just not working. I don't know. Let's keep going.
Detroit, but it
Just have, you and I have we're reading on a similar subject. From 1950 to the present, two things happened. One was that the population of the United States of America roughly doubled, and the other was that the population of Detroit fell by roughly half.
Yes.
Unbelievable. All right. You write in Intellectuals in Society about the intellectuals' view of diplomacy and military affairs. One last clip of the President of the United States.
Thank heaven I'm sitting down.
Look at Iran. Through the power of our diplomacy, a world that was once divided about how to deal with Iran's nuclear program now stands as one. The regime is more isolated than ever before. Its leaders are faced with crippling sanctions. And as long as they shirk their responsibilities, this pressure will not relent.
Tom, will you sleep better tonight having heard that?
I may take a sleeping pill so I can forget it. This man has diddled with Iran to the point where the military people say, you know, even if we decide to go in and bomb that place, they're so dispersed, so far underground, it's by no means clear that we can do it. time when he was going through all this wonderful diplomacy he talks about was precisely the time when those things were put underground and dispersed. It's like when Hitler was arming, you know, as Churchill said, at one point, a memorandum could have stopped Hitler. You know, because the power was so lopsidedly on the side of the Western democracies. They could say, stop rearming or else. And we can't do that with they diddled with Iran to the point where now we don't know.
Now, but there's something interesting about, to me, whereas with social policy, intellectuals tend to go for the policies that give them greater power. What greater power could an intellectual seek than military power, the power to blow things up? So why
because they believe that again that their intellect is the unique factor that is going to save us, and to say that there are a bunch of military people are going to be more effective than doing all these terribly clever things that Obama's doing undermines their whole position.
I see. All right.
It's stupid.
So keep in mind, basically what he's saying is it's okay. He wants stupid people in power. It's basically what he's saying. Basically, he wants stupid people in power. He doesn't want intellectuals who understand and can speak articulately, and he doesn't want that. He wants stupid people in power. That's what he's saying, basically, I guess, right? Anyways, that's what I got from what he said. He wants stupid people in power. Secondly, like, I have no comment on the war in Iran because no one has, not the war in Iran, but the whole conflict with Iran, because no one has been able to handle it properly. No one. Bush didn't handle it properly. Obama didn't handle it properly. Trump is not handling it properly. Biden didn't handle it properly. Like, Iran is just a country that we just don't get along with. Have they been able to get a nuclear weapon? No. Or maybe we don't know, but they are doing a nuclear program, and no president who came in has been able to stop that. So no comment on that. No critique on anybody with that. Military power is what intellectuals should seek for. Oh, man. Intellectuals seek to lessen the burden of military power. They don't want war. A lot of intellectuals understand that war is costly. War, it can be detrimental to many nations. And it has a ripple effect that can last generation to generation. And intellectuals understand that, and they try to avoid it at all cost. I don't know, man. Whatever, man. Thomas Sowell, man. Shout out to Thomas Sowell, man. All right, y'all. That's it. I'm gonna get out of here with this reaction. Peace.